Hi, everybody. Jack here. Boy, am I sure glad you're here. Er, we got uh, great things here, including a bonus podcast here soon. Er, just make sure you listen carefully to what I have to tell you about. So, what are we learning about today here, Jack? Well, it's kind of a funny thing. Ah, today we're learning about the third largest land animal, the rhinoceros. This, yep, that's the one. Yep, these large mammals also have horns on their noses. In fact, the word rhinoceros means nose horn. Despite them as very large and tough, they don't deserve a tough reputation. They, they don't deserve a tough guy reputation at all. They only fight when they have to. Whoa! Rhinos are herbivores. That means they eat plants. Delicious. A baby rhino is called a calf. Check this out.
Maybe one baby is enough when it weighs in at birth at 100 pounds or more.
That's how heavy a baby rhino is. Whew. There are about 5 different kinds of rhinos. Really? Oh, yes. Come on, I'll show you. Now, let me see here. Rhinoceros. Let's see there. Oh, there's my. Here it is. Here's the answer. There are about 5 different kinds of rhinos, according to this book here. The Sumatran rhino, the Indian rhino, the Javan rhino, the black rhino, and the white rhino. That's how many kinds there are. Also, here's something about their horns. You can tell the difference.
Can you tell the difference between these two rhinos?
The rhino on the right has 1 horn, and the rhino on the left has 2. All Indian and Javan rhinos have only 1 horn, but the white, black, and Sumatran rhinos have 2.
Rhinos look sort of alike. Well, that's big.
The white and black rhinos look sort of alike. Well, that's because they're close relatives. But much like me or my cousin Nolan, their personalities are quite different. What do you mean? Well, the white rhino is social and unlikely to charge. However, the black rhino is very cautious and the most ready to charge rhino in the world. Is that so? It's in this book. Here, I'll give you information. The Sumatran rhino is the smallest one, the only rhino in Asia with 2 horns. It's covered in thick reddish-brown hair. I know it looks like that, but he's just covered in mud. Rhinos roll around in mud, also known as wallowing, to keep cool. They like to hang out in mud pools or hot springs, where they can also lick the salt up from the hot spring here as well. What about this Javan rhino? The Javan rhino now looks similar to the Indian rhino, but smaller. Does it look that way? The Javan rhino now likes to live near water, or like in the rainforest, like rivers or lakes. They're marvelous swimmers. Also, the rhino has one little thing here. The rhino's horn is made of keratin, just like your hair and your fingernails. Is that true? But what does that have to do with anything here? Well, check out how the rhino is enjoying itself. Rolling around in the mud is lots of fun. It's called a wallow.
Giant mud puddles called wallows. They roll around.
That's what giant mud puddles they make. They roll around in the wallow until they're covered in a thick coat of mud. And they let the mud dry, and it keeps their skin protected from the sun and insects. And their thick, tough, leathery skin works exactly like armor. Gee-larn. See what I mean? Is that so here? But what about the black and the white rhino? Just let me elaborate about this. The white rhino is the largest rhino in the world. And the black rhino, that's the way to tell who's who. The black rhino has a hook-shaped lip, and the white rhino has a square lip, which is why it's also called the square-lipped rhino. Because of its square-shaped lip? Yep, that feature comes in handy while grazing on grass. But that's not all what rhinos eat. Rhinos like to eat fruits, branches, brambles, nettles, and bushes. The white rhino is one of 5. It's also called
the square-lipped rhino.
The square upper lip. Yep. Also, there's one other thing about rhinos. Did you know that rhinos are very nearsighted? That means they can see things pretty well close up, but far away is a little blurry. Is that bad? Oh no, not at all. They have someone really reliable. Oh, come on, I'll show you. Let's see here, give a moment. What I'm saying about it, the rhino has a bird that sits on its back. They're called oxpeckers. There's like the red-billed or the yellow-billed. The birds that sit on the rhinos pick the bugs off them. Rhinos get clean, birds get a meal. Both get something out of the deal. It's an amazing symbiotic relationship. Now, the rhino's horn is nub-looking, but when it smooths it out on the rocks, it sharpens it. In fact, they use it for different ways, like knocking a tree or for digging, but can use as a way to protect itself. But what does the birds have to do with anything? Giving an alarm call is one thing. While they're the seeing eye bird, or which they're due to, rhinos have a good sense of smell and hearing. Their ears turn toward the sound to hear better. Scratching trees leaves a mark that let other rhinos know where they live. They also leave marks in the soil. And also, they twist small trees into certain shapes, which let other rhinos know where they live. But did you know that white rhinos are very social? Indian rhinos are too. But black rhinos, they're usually solitary, except when get-togetherness. How many in a group? Well, about 7 to 10 members. But they always have to make sure to cooperate when it comes to getting along. What's that got to do with staying on your toes like that? Well, that's something you have to be careful. And I mean really careful about when the rhino sets the alarm off. Oops, I startled him. Rhinos will charge when they're threatened or startled. Yeah! Ooh, they can charge at a 4.5-ton truck. Their horns are so hard and strong, it can break through a car door. And the birds hung on even when the rhino charges. Check it out. They can run up to 31 miles per hour. But why would rhinos do that? Well, the ability to charge and crush. But it's just their way to defend themselves, especially their calves. Rhino baby is their moms have strong bonds and a close relationship. So don't make any sudden movements. And also, the mothers are very protective of their calves, especially protecting themselves from predators. Like those lions, for example. Oh boy. But that mother rhino taught them a thing or three. Although it can weigh 3,000 pounds, they have fancy footwork. Charging in is very protective indeed. Youch! Oh, that's right. Never mess with them. Whew. When it comes to rhinos, they're very strong and tough, but they can also make sure predators don't approach the water hole, so they stand their ground before they can have a turn. When it comes to a nice drink, sounds good to me. Yep, it's just the rhino web. In fact, symbiotic relationships is one thing after another. It'll elaborate, Kifaru. That means his name means rhino. Hit it. Birds and rhinos are always a pair. Together they go everywhere.
He's always guiding me along, cleaning all the pesky bugs right off of my back.
Tick birds and rhinos are always a pair.
He's kind of miming, birds and rhinos.
They're always a pair. Together they go everywhere. Tick right, eat all those bugs right off his back. Tick birds and rhinos are always a pair. One more time. Tick birds and rhinos are always a pair. It's a classic thing about it. But if you think that's something, wait till I tell you about this story. Now, one of the rhinos that is ever known anywhere was a young black rhino named Samia. When she was alone or abandoned, it happened like this. Her story is told in this book, Rhino in the House, The Story of Samia, written by Daniel Kirk, not to mention illustrated and authorized. And I got a bonus, this one here. It all began right here, deep in the east of Africa, in the country of Kenya. Oh, allow me to introduce this friend here. This is Anna Mers, and she takes care of the African savanna, protecting animals, including the rhinos. One day, she was just out patrolling the savanna when she found a black rhino named Samya all alone in the tall grass left behind by her mother because she's did something that she's not supposed to do. What's she done? Well, it says here she doesn't know a thing about taking care of her baby. Or something like that. The infant was in trouble and needs instant care. So her mother asked, well, let her do it. She kept her baby warmed and well nursed very well. Throughout the weeks, she was doing much better. And keep getting lonely, she brings her onto that little bed reading her bedtime stories. But Anna knew that rhinos are wild animals. Throughout the story, Samya got really strong and noisy. She had to understand what she's saying here. Rhinos bellow, snort, grunt, and squeal, to communicate with each other. Eek, where are you? Toot, frustrated. Coming. And snort. What's that? Yep, that's something they do. Anna and Samya became very close friends to each other. The important thing is, she had to teach them the ways of the rhino. Samya liked playing with Anna's dogs, but she also got very socialized not only by the oxpeckers, but also by other animals like gazelles, giraffes, and zebras. That's because these animals cohabitate in the same environment. Every day, Samya and Anna go out for a long walk, so they can learn about their natural habitats. She has to be taught everything Anna knows about it. Sometimes he sucks on Anna's fingers, and sometimes Anna holds onto her tail when he comes going uphill. Despite Sammy, it can be tough here. Well, what I'm telling you, a precaution is, Sumatran rhinos can be quite aggressive if they feel intruded, or someone treating their territories. Black rhinos can be, but it's just what they do, defending themselves. But Samya is curious and gentle. She can be very frisky. Like the time she learned how to open these gates to get into that little garden, and look what a mess she made out of Anna's hat. But Anna just laughed. You little rascal, you. Samya had a lot to learn about what she's doing. One night, Anna was just cleaning herself up when Samya was just coming in. Anna slipped out to prevent the rhino from climbing in. And another time, she snuck in, but then suddenly, uh-oh, she got stuck. Oh dear. Oh boy. she got a little wedge, but Anna had an idea how to get her out. So she used was a gallon of cooking oil to make her slid back out so she can get free. And it worked. Freedom at last. Throughout the months, Samia learned the ways just fine and spent most of the days and the nights, but often visited Anna. And she enjoys going walks with her in the sanctuary. That's right. Always ready to protect her new friend who'd raised her. And sometimes they rest together by a small, nice pond hidden in a gorge. Below the ranch in the sanctuary where she created a special relationship and love between that a friendship that is never flattered at themselves. And don't you see? That story took place here. They're in that sanctuary called Leah Downs. But there's also in Gara Sorgo. Why, there's believe me, it's a bonus one. What's that got to do with anything? Here, I'll show you. Here it is. The answer is right here. Right here in Africa. There it is. The Ngara Sergoi, right here in Kenya. Samia takes very good care of the rhinos. She loves the rhinos so much, they're like part of her own family. Yep, that's her, Samia, the black rhinoceros. It was quite a beautiful relationship. Whenever she sees her, earn a good snack here. Good outing is what they like to do. But what does that have to do with anything? Today, Anna has a big concern here. There was something that's concerning Anna a little, which has to do with those rhinos. You see, all rhinos are endangered animals, which means they need protection to survive. It's not only their habitats that need protection, and they also have a problem with a threat. And poachers, those scoundrel scallywag creeps are nothing but criminals. Especially trying to come after them for their horns, which is not allowed. It's against the law. But I did remember a news flash one time. I looked up and saw that some remains of poachers had been killed by lions. The rangers took a good look, defeated, as that's word, to make sure they're on the safe side. And for them, the rhinos have armed guards are one of the things to help protect them, or special experts that are scientists as well. But there's something in here that's worrying Samia and the others. It's not lions or crocodiles. No, or tourists and photography. None of those. It's the giraffes. There are many giraffes in Gar Surgoi, and all those rhinos and giraffes are concerned if that place of their own has more than enough food. But that's not a problem. Anna had an idea how to help sort the giraffes' problem.
Green and leafy stuff for your giraffes? Why not bring your giraffes to the green and leafy stuff?
Yep.
You can bet it's a major operation just to round up 500 giraffes.
Yep, they rounded the giraffes up here because Aaron discovered a nice new home for them and where it'll be safe. And also a good place where there's more than enough food for all of them. Even though giraffes know about fair share, that's my advice. They load them onto these very big special trucks
All the way across
and
Kenya.
ride across Kenya to
About 3 hours.
after 3 hours, they arrived in their new home in this wildlife preserve. And
back
now,
to the
some,
garden.
and for that, in Ngara Sergoi, Samia and all the rhinos breathe a sigh of relief. That's a great story to tell about. You got that right. And it's a good relief indeed. In fact, like in the Sandwich Farbark and some other places about protecting these ones, well, what I'm going to say is, in fact, the picture of the rhino and her baby is SSP, Species Survival Plan. And that's, which is this big logo I'm going to show you. Huh? Here, I'll show you. Yeah. Here it is. Ta-da! Huh. Yep. And there you have it. The real down low here. About why rhinos need protection. And this is a very important thing to talk about. This amazing story reminds us to take care of all animals, including those that are endangered. You can also help rhinos by finding out more about them and sharing your knowledge with others. As for example, and that'll help you charge right into. If you think that's amazing, you could say, that's way to poke your nose in. Get it? Horn? Poke your nose in? That's the funniest thing I ever heard. Chick, you want to see how the black rhino grabs its food? Yep. Pretty neat, huh? Its prehensile lip helps pluck. That's something that might come in handy. Their molar teeth here help chew their food into tiny pieces. That's helpful indeed. But also, you know that the other way around, not only rhinoceros means horn nose, nose horn. Other way around, you get the picture. Rhinos may be big, but they need extra protection to survive. Oh, that reminds me. We can say this is right on, rhinos are very amazing creatures, but they are very powerful indeed, because nature has given animals the ability, these empowers they need to survive in their natural habitats. Yeah. Time to charge right out of here. Here. Ta-ta.